Holy commemoration! Hello everyone, welcome back to the Real Screen Team. I'm Andrew Thomas. I'm here with fellow sidekick Christopher Johnson.
Hello everyone.
And this review is all about sidekicks.
Yes, as we're talking about the original sidekick. The man who kind of helped create the whole idea. Robin.
Yep. But before we do that, make sure to find us on Facebook, The Real Screen Team. Where else?
You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, and Lemonade.
And go to our YouTube channel, like, comment on our videos, share our videos, and definitely subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Yes, and if you are subscribed, click the post notification bell so you're updated with all of our upcoming videos.
Now, you can start the overview.
Okay. Yes, forgive me everyone. This may take a little while. There's quite a bit of history. Robin is the alias of several superheroes appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics. The character was created by artist Bob Kane and Jerry Robinson and writer Bill Finger, and debuted in the 38th issue of the comic book Detective Comics in April 1940. Robin was conceived as a way to attract young readership, to give them a character to relate to and empathize with, and for Bill Finger to give Batman someone to talk to, a la Dr. Watson to Sherlock Holmes. Robin garnered an overwhelmingly positive critical and commercial reception, doubling the sales of Batman titles. Robin is the junior counterpart and sidekick to the superhero Batman. As a team, Batman and Robin have commonly been referred to as the Cape Crusaders and the Dynamic Duo. Robin's success led to other superheroes to get their own junior counterparts and sidekicks. Green Arrow, or aka Oliver Queen, would get Speedy, also known as Roy Harper. Barry Allen, aka The Flash, would get Wally West, aka Kid Flash. Aquaman would get Aqualad. And that's just to name a few. And all just in a number of years after Robin's debut. There have been several individuals that have assumed the role of Robin at various times in the main DC comic universe. The first Robin was Richard Dick Grayson, an 8 to 10-year-old acrobat and the youngest of the family act called the Flying Graysons. After the circus, Haley Circus, refused to pay extortion/protection money to a gangster, the Graysons' trapeze equipment were tampered with, causing Dick's parents, John and Mary, to fall to their deaths during a performance. Batman investigated the crime, and as his alter ego, billionaire Bruce Wayne, had Dick put under his custody as a legal ward. Together they investigate and get the evidence to bring the gangster to justice. Batman takes Dick under his tutelage and makes him a costume consisting of a red tunic, yellow cape, green gloves, green boots, and green spandex briefs, and a utility belt. Thus, Robin the Boy Wonder was born. Dick is he's a very charming, happy-go-lucky kid. And, we see him continue to be that as he grows up and becomes truly a natural leader. That's why he would later on become a leader for various teams. Though he can be a bit hot-tempered during serious and stressful events, and he definitely showed that during his growing pains from young kid to teenager. I think that's the reason why he got slapped a couple of times. As Dick would grow up, aiding Batman and other heroes in stopping crime, he would also become a founding member and the leader of the Teen Titans, a group of, all the various young counterparts and sidekicks of other heroes. And as well, young heroes that are just starting out on their own. And as a young adult, would leave Batman's shadow and entirely assume the identity of Nightwing in 1986. Dick still aids Batman from time to time and even took over as Batman for a time while Bruce was assumed dead but was actually in time-traveling and reality-altering shenanigans. And when he's not working with Bruce, he's often stopping crime in the city streets of Bloodhaven, the sister city to Gotham City. Yeah, what are your thoughts on Dick?
Well, he's always been my Robin since growing up. And also, he's the Robin I got introduced to, thanks to the 60s show.
Well, same here in a number of senses. I mean, Batman the Animated Series, Batman Forever, and Adam West's Batman.
Yeah.
I always knew him as Robin, so as I got older and started to find out, he became a hero in his own right.
Yeah.
And there are more?
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of blew my mind when I was younger.
Yep.
Yeah,
but although in the anime series I was kind of disappointed that he wasn't in the show that often in the anime show.
Part of that was due to censorship, they
just wanted a much more darker Batman.
That and also the fact of
because censorship was the one that made Robin more episodes in the Fox Kids stuff. That he actually gets promoted to having his own title, Adventures of Batman and Robin.
Well, that's when the censorship got a bit more lax.
They weren't really censored, really. The Fox Kids.
Well, initially when Batman the Animated Series started, they were told that they couldn't have, like, a young Robin.
That's why he was in college.
Yeah. So, therefore,
But
they really couldn't necessarily do as much as they could.
But they still showed blood when Bruce got injured.
I know, it's weird. It's weird. But yet things got so lax that by the time Batman Beyond happens, we see freaking Tim Drake get tortured into becoming Joker Jr.
Yeah.
But, as I digress, the second Robin was Jason Todd, a young street orphan who first encountered Batman when he attempted to steal the tires and hubcaps off of the Batmobile. Todd would prove his crime-fighting worth by helping Batman catch a gang of robbers. Batman would once again gain a legal ward in Jason Todd and train him to become Robin. Jason is much different than Dick. While he is at times he can be a nice guy. And he's very confident. He's also a loose cannon. He's very unpredictable and can be very aggressive. And that's due to the circumstances of his growing up, as his father, unfortunately, at times was abusive, and his mother, who he thought was his mother, was a drug addict. So not the best environment to grow up, and especially in, the crime-riddled areas of Gotham City. So that actually made him rather ruthless when it came to dealing with some criminals. Sometimes, he would just beat them up, just like how Batman does. Or if he got a bit too involved in, the situations as far as what they did to two individuals, he may attempt to throw them off a roof. There have been a couple instances of that. One time he ran into a pimp that was greatly mistreating one of his workers, and he beat that guy down and was ready to throw him off a roof. Batman had to stop him. And then there was another instance where they had to deal with the son of a foreign diplomat who was essentially causing mayhem throughout Gotham. I mean, all the drunk driving, drugs. He assaulted a lady and then ended up assaulting her again to the point that she took her own life. And by the end of the story, because, he couldn't be charged because diplomatic immunity, we see him fall several stories to hit the pavement, dying on impact. And Jason Todd was in his apartment. Jason Todd had gone and found him. It's not told directly, but it is assumed Jason Todd may have pushed that man out of his apartment to his death. Yeah, things got pretty intense. By that point, Bruce was planning on firing Jason. Therefore, believing that the readers never truly bonded with Jason compared to how they did with Dick, DC Comics made the controversial decision in 1988 to poll readers using a 1-900 number to decide whether Jason Todd would live or die in one of their upcoming comics. By a small margin of 5,343 to 5,271, the readers voted yes to kill Jason Todd. Todd, in the next comic, would then be killed by the Joker in the storyline A Death in the Family, in which the Joker would savagely beat Todd with a crowbar and leave him to die in a warehouse rigged with a bomb. Jason Todd would remain dead for 18 years until reality-altering shenanigans brought him back to life, and he would return as the Red Hood and initially be a new villain for Batman to stop, but would then renounce his evil ways and become an anti-hero that would help Batman and other members of the Bat family. What are your thoughts on Jason?
I feel like you should have stayed dead.
Ah.
Yeah.
You feel as though they should have kept their word on kind of what they held for like 20 years as the 3 rule of the three characters. Yeah, there was this talk to show the importance of what a character's, life and death can impact a character. A number of characters have been deemed as, you just can't bring them back. It would be a detriment to the main character's story. And there's always been three. Uncle Ben for Spider-Man, Bucky Barnes for Captain America, and Jason Todd for Batman. Well, unfortunately, two of those came back. But they were actually brought back in unique ways that I can give them a mulligan on those. Making Bucky the Winter Soldier was actually a very interesting twist. That was actually pretty good. And Jason coming back as Red Hood, despite how crazy the initial way he came back, but then the revised version actually makes a lot more sense and I can agree with. It is cool that he did get a second chance. Remember, he was still a kid when he got killed. That's messed up.
Yeah.
And because of Jason's death, we didn't see another Robin for a year.
Yeah.
The third Robin would be Tim Drake. At the age of 8 years old, he was able to figure out Bruce Wayne was Batman and Dick Grayson was Robin when Dick Grayson was younger, based off of an acrobatic move that looked similar to what Dick did at a young age in Haley's Circus. How was he the only person that was able to figure that out? I will never know. Kid's brilliant. Unlike Dick and Jason, Tim had to push Batman to make him Robin. Batman was still haunted by Jason's death and the fractured relationship he had with Dick at the time. So Batman didn't want to make the same mistakes. But without Robin, Batman became much more ruthless and aggressive when dealing with criminals that he almost killed one with his bare hands. Tim stepped up to be an aid for Batman, not just in crime fighting, but in finding himself again. Tim had to tell Batman that he needed a Robin. He needed a Robin to keep him level-headed. Tim is confusingly still Robin, despite there being two successors after him, though he mainly goes by the names Red Robin and Redwing. He also became Dick's successor as the leader of the Teen Titans, and he would be the first Robin to finally get an updated suit with a new cape that was black and yellow, black boots, and full spandex pants. Thank God. Thank God. What are your thoughts on Tim Drake?
Well, I liked the 90s Tim Drake through the early 2000s. He was mainly the Robin I read because I didn't realize that Dick Grayson wasn't Robin anymore, so I assumed it was still Dick Grayson as Robin in the 90s, yeah.
Oh, my. Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
and I didn't really read the the bubbles, so
You just looked at the action, huh?
yeah. So I just assumed that was still Dick.
Well, I at least knew of Tim
Yeah.
as I continued to watch Batman the Animated Series as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Of
Of course, my introduction was also the animated series, where I wondered why he was de-aged.
I get it. Yeah, it actually took me some time to know about Jason Todd.
Yeah.
You know, I always mainly knew of Dick
I didn't find
Dick
out.
Grayson and Tim Drake.
I didn't find out about Jason Todd till the DVD bonus features on the
Same.
Batman box set. Yeah.
Same here.
Mhm.
The next and shortest tenured Robin was Stephanie Brown.
His girlfriend.
Yes. And she was already known as a costume vigilante spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
As she was the daughter of a villain and she was stopping his crimes by essentially being the spoiler to, you know, he was trying to be like a Riddler, but he wasn't. He was the Quizzler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. But she volunteered to fill in the role when Tim left to be his own hero. Stephanie was proven to be a rather problematic sidekick, unfortunately. She disobeyed Batman's orders on 2 occasions that led to her being fired. Then she stole one of Batman's incomplete contingency plans to control Gotham's crime and executed it to prove her worthiness to Batman to be Robin. She inadvertently set off a gang war in the streets of Gotham and ended up dying while trying to end the war due to being severely injured from a savage attack by Black Mask. Though it only turned out to be a faked death. Stephanie would then revert back to spoiler and then would be recruited by Barbara Gordon to be the new Batgirl. Yeah. I mean, A for effort with Stephanie,
Yeah.
but they did her dirty.
Those I knew online from the stories, and I think I probably read one once, like the War Games that she was in as Robin, so I didn't really get a full detail of what was going on.
Of why in God's name there's a whole freaking gang war. And the fact that it was all her fault
Yeah.
because she didn't read the contingencies
Yeah.
properly. And also wasn't complete.
Mm-hmm.
And the 5th, and until recently, current Robin is Damian Wayne. He's the child, the legitimate child, or kind of illegitimate child, of Bruce Wayne and Talia al Ghul, thus making him the grandson of the immortal Ra's al Ghul. Batman was unaware of Damian's existence for years until Talia left him in Batman's care. Damian was initially violent and lacking in discipline and morality due to his young age of 12 years old and being trained by the League of Assassins to be a master assassin since the age of 2 years old. Damian's murderous behavior created a troubled relationship with his father, who vowed never to take a life. Despite his very intense and arrogant nature, he does hold his father in high regard, and he has a good relationship with Nightwing and Alfred. I mean, once he became a full-fledged Robin, he was the Robin for Dick Grayson. when Dick Grayson had to take over the mantle of Batman. Though once Batman came back, once Bruce came back and became Batman, Damian continued along with Bruce. Despite how unhinged Damian is, Damian actually is surprisingly a very motivated environmentalist and animal rights advocate. He's actually a vegetarian, as he cares about animals and the conservation of animals. I mean, so much so, he has several animals in his care, even a turkey and a cow. Who would have thought? What are your thoughts on Damian?
Yeah, at first, I wasn't really keen on Damian. Mainly having Robin number 4 or 5 at the moment. Let alone him sort of Jason Todd-esque in some ways. He literally has a crowbar with the Joker against the Joker to kind of remind him of what he did to the previous Robin.
Yeah.
In one panel of the comic.
But yet at the same time, he is absolute best friends with Jonathan Kent, Clark Kent's son.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, their dynamic works perfectly. And as Damian mellowed out over time and actually became the third leader of the Teen Titans, he actually did grow to be a good leader and actually be friends with people. I don't fully know how to feel about as far as them trying to create a romantic relationship between him and Raven. I don't know how to feel about that. But it's worked out for him. Plus, he also has another girlfriend right now that was trained under Lord Deathman. So, hey, things are going well for him.
And he had his own... Most of the New 52 animated movies were mainly about Damian Wayne.
Yeah. I mean, being the current Robin.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Though, unfortunately, due to that, Tim got shafted for quite a while. They almost acted like he didn't exist.
Yeah.
Him and Stephanie, they acted like they just didn't exist.
Yeah. But let's talk about the notable mentions.
Oh, you don't want to go into their training and weaponry?
No.
Well, there are also some non-canon or non-main canon continuity or offshoot Robins. Robins that are questionable as far as whether or not they're truly canon and we can keep them in the main timeline. The first one is Carrie Kelly, as she was created in Frank Miller's Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. She's a 13-year-old girl who buys a Robin costume to help Batman after he saved her life from being mugged by the mutant gang. She saved Batman's life after his first altercation with the mutant gang leader and officially joins Batman's team. Despite not being trained, she shows immense talent and uses a slingshot and firecrackers as a weapon. What are your thoughts on Carrie?
Actually, I like her in the Batman: The Dark Knight Returns story
Same here. I really like her.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks that her canon is very questionable.
Yeah.
Because I think, to tell you the truth, I think she would be the proper worthy girl Robin compared to Stephanie. The next questionable continuity Robin is Duke Thomas, also known as the Signal. He's the only metahuman member of the Bat family, and he initially started his crime-fighting career as a Robin within a group of teens who also adopted the mantle to protect Gotham City while Bruce Wayne had amnesia and was a botanist. And all the Robins were away on their own adventures. Yeah, that was a weird time. It was a weird time, but Duke proved himself. That's why he's a Bat family member. Though unfortunately, he doesn't fully get to be acknowledged as a Robin. Except within, like, maybe a couple video games. Plus, he would have been the first Robin of color. He would have been the first black Robin. Then there's Jarro. And yes, everyone, please continue to keep your suspension of disbelief, because this one is wild. Jarro is a reformed version of Starro the Star Conqueror, the giant alien starfish that was the first major villain of the Justice League. Yeah, the freaking giant starfish that sends small starfish just suction cups on your face, assimilating you. Yeah, that starfish. Jarro was essentially grown from genetic samples of Starro after Starro was defeated and destroyed, and Batman kept him in the Batcave. And the samples grew into a baby Starro. Despite being conflicted over his villainous heritage, he is incredibly affectionate towards Batman and considers him a father. So much so that Jarro actually became a Robin and aspired to become the best Robin. Yeah, how much did you know about this?
No. None.
Things got weird in the Batman comics, and this is recent stuff, too. This is like a few years ago. But I respect Jarro. I respect that. That starfish had a compass. And once again, Robin is very influential even within the Bat family, as England has their own Batman known as the Knight. And he would acquire a sidekick known as Squire. Though there have been two major Squires. There was Cyril Seldrake, who was the son of the Knight, Percy Seldrake, and he would assume the mantle of the Knight after his father retired and then died. And then the current Squire, Beryl Hutchinson. She's a poor orphan girl who joins Cyril Seldrake in, continuing the lineage of the Knight and Squire. And of course, let's not forget one other Robin that recently came out, since now they decided to continue Michael Keaton's Batman story in the comics, we finally got his Robin, Drake Winston. And yes, he is molded after Marlon Wayans, who almost became Robin in those initial Batman movies. Good to see the what if actually happening.
Talk about Robin in media.
Well, yes, there have been a number of various adaptions of Robin in various media, mainly movies and television. Definitely a lot for Dick Grayson. I mean, first was adapted by Burt Ward in the Batman TV show in 1966, and of course the movie that also came out around that time as well. Of course, Chris O'Donnell in Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. Even Michael Cera voiced Dick Grayson in the Lego Batman movie. And then, of course, we can't forget some of the TV Robins. I mean, of course, Lauren Lester for Batman the Animated Series, Scott Menville in all the Teen Titans animated series. Yes, that includes Teen Titans Go. Jesse McCarthy in Young Justice. Jason Todd only has a couple.
Yeah.
He has... Oh, yeah. Also, before I forget, for Dick Grayson, Brenton Thwaites for the live-action Titans series. Can't forget him.
Yeah, for the infamous comment.
Fuck Batman. Oh, why do you have to say that? Jason Todd only has a couple. Curran Walters from the Titans live-action series, and being voiced by Jensen Ackles in Under the Red Hood. Tim Drake has even less than, has just about as much, with Jay Lacurgo in the Titans live-action series, and Matthew Valencia in Batman the Animated Series.
And Damien.
Oh, yes, that is true. That is true.
With his voice actor.
Well, he has a number.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't write down all of them.
Yeah.
But it is good to still acknowledge Stuart Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, can we at least go into a little bit of the gadgets?
A little bit, not too much.
While Robin is very proficient in using the usual gadgets Batman uses, he does have, smoke bombs, grappling hooks, and has his own unique batarang known as the Wingdings or the R-Shurikens. Each Robin also has their own unique weapons when they grew up into their own heroes. Dick Grayson with his two shatterproof polymer excrema sticks with electric stun gun-like ends. And also regurgitant gas pellets. Why? Jason Todd with his automatic handguns and occasionally using a katana. Tim Drake with his collapsible bow staff that he started using as a Robin and has continued to use on since then. It's been so prominent they even gave it to Dick Grayson in Teen Titans. And Damian Wayne with his twin blade katana with shards of kryptonite. And his brass knuckles with spikes. Yeah. You don't want to mess with any of them.
But before we go, we're going to start with the actual Robin.
Well, the first Robin.
The first Robin.
Yep, as we're going to discuss a couple of prominent stories involving Dick Grayson.
Yep.
Should I give them the
Well,
names?
Yep, the 2 episodes.
Yep, Robin's Reckoning and Old Wounds.
So, want to roll us out?
Well, sure. Well, I hope you all have enjoyed this. Definitely come back and watch us again. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share, and click the post notification bell so you're updated with all of our upcoming videos. Well, cut, print, that's a wrap.